Hey, everybody, give me one moment. Hey, everybody, there we go. So, welcome, first of all, to your part 2 of your Manifest Love training. Now, this has been a really interesting one for me to record today, and I want to share with you why. So, though this is actually, I think, take 4 of me recording this, which is really unlike me now. But here's the thing. Every training that I create and everything I do, I literally go through the process. I go through, see how it's playing out in my life, see about these things, because there's always another level. There's always, just like go in the gym or healthy eating or whatever it is, there's always a new level to uncover. And I find that fascinating and exciting. Today, as I was going through this process, it just reminded me how powerful it is to look at the present moment. We are so busy, and tell me if you totally agree with this. We are so busy looking at the past, thinking about the future, that we forget the past is leading to the now and the now is leading to the future. You can't skip today to go to tomorrow, and you can't rewind and go back to yesterday. And we miss so many obvious nuggets of gold in the absolute today, in the absolute moment, and miss how it's literally mirroring back to us in every single way. So today, I am going to get into it super, super quick because, like I said, we're literally in the present moment. As you listen to this or you watch this, you are in the present moment. And how you're feeling as you go about this is a reflection of the past. It is a reflection of the stories, the unwinding. That's why yesterday in the last training, we looked at kind of the stories, the generational trauma that's playing out today, that's literally just like just showing you why you're accepting certain situations, why you believe certain things about love. And these all intertwine. See, there's a very big reason I'm what's the word I'm looking for? Multiple pronged tongue. What's the word? I like to come at things from all different angles. That's why I'm like timeline therapy. That's why I love the psychology. That's why I love the past life regression and going woo woo. That's why I love looking at our generational trauma. That's why I love showing you how to find your modality for healing. See, different modalities for healing will be different for you and right for you at different times. See, there's certain times that I've had to really be, and you will really have to be in your masculine, which is sometimes what this training is about, is the masculine of undoing and untapping and understanding. And other times there is the downloading, what I call that downloading of information, that receiving of guidance that's just there for you. Don't ask me where it's from, and you can decide yourself. But there is so much knowing in calming yourself, meditating. For me in particular, mirror work, then secondly, journaling. That's my balance. I have certain clients that journaling is way, and especially if you're still very much in your masculine, is very much the way forward. For me, and what I work very closely with women is doing mirror work, is doing the work that is super fast, super getting to what you need to do so we can then move on to the next part of healing it. Because we literally are, and you literally are, a bag of stories. We are literally playing a character. Now, what I mean by that is, you could say it in a different way. It's like having different hats. So you've got your mum hat, you've got your work hat, business hat, daughter hat, cousin hat, friend hat, I don't know, helping at the school hat. Whatever it is, you will have different hats. But under it all, fundamentally, you'll be playing out a certain character. So I wanted to run through with you today. And again, all you're really going to need today is a pen and paper. But we are literally, and the theme kind of today is the present in the present, which is nice and cringy, but it's about mirrors. See, someone once said to me that people are mirroring a part of us that's unhealed, or we're mirroring a part of us that's showing something back to us. And then I had another person say to me, and I don't know if you ever had this conflicting information where you're like, that works for me. And then someone that's a stronger character perhaps comes along and goes, I just don't believe that. Here's what I want to get across to you, because that blindsided me, because my first opinion is still my instinct and still my opinion. But that blindsided me for a little bit. we literally are living a story. And I don't mean in a wishy-washy that we don't have to live in the real world kind of way. What I mean is you get to decide what's right for you. You get to decide whether energy work, shadow work, the psychology work, the energy healing, the mental healing, you get to decide what's right for you. You get to decide what love is and what love it is. So skipping back to yesterday and going back to the stories that you're telling yourself internally, one of the biggest one that comes up is the special one. I have to be perfectly unique. I have to be so individual. I have to be so perfect in order to be loved. Now, I'm going to keep linking back into that and you'll see why in a moment. Now, I quite often talk to people when we're talking about storytelling, when we're talking about the stories we're telling ourselves and the beliefs, like we can get so much from photographs. Like if any of you've got photographs from 5-6 years ago, I encourage you, go look at them, go look at that picture of yourself. What does you need to hear? What does you need to do? That's the sort of work I really do when we're one-to-one. So I'm very much part of my alchemy of love. But for now, I don't know if any of you have heard of a lady called Caroline Myss. Now, Caroline Myss is one of the people that kind of carried on from Carl Jung in regards to archetypes. Now, archetypes, again, I'm going to be totally honest, have been thrown around so easily lately. And me being me, I'm a rule breaker. I am a no one, well, I'm totally not a rule breaker. But in other words, I totally am. And I'm a rule breaker, not in regards to my moral compass, but in regards to my thoughts and in regards to what I believe is possible. So Caroline Myss talks about archetypes, and again, it follows on from Carl Jung. And she talks about the character we're playing, and she talks about the shadow side and the healthy side. Now, this reflects in lots of different things like Enneagrams and all different things. So I want you to, this is why I like archetypes though. Archetypes are the characters you believe you're playing. Now, in our love lives, we'll be playing massively different, or when in your unhealed love life, you'll be playing a massively different archetype or different character to what you are playing in another area of your life, which is your strength. So certain areas we have natural strength. So to give you an example, I always had a natural strength in not being a mum as in knowing I'm getting it all right. I mean, as in being a mum and standing up for things that I didn't think were right, perhaps in the education system that I didn't think were right. I remember even standing up in a gymnastics class and being that mum that was like, no, you don't get to pick on the boys. You don't just get to give all the girls a star and not the boys a star. That's going to give them the idea that and I just looked like that crazy person because really I was talking to 16-year-old girls that were just young children themselves. But the reason I'm sharing that with you is it's now time to look at your strengths, but first of all, the weaknesses. See, in our shadows is our light. That's what I teach my clients. In our shadows is our light. In our weaknesses is our strength, because we draw the strength from understanding them and unpicking them and going, actually, that's a total lie. That is an utter lie. So grab a pen and paper if you haven't already got one, or for now, just keep listening. If you're like me, you can just pick it apart as you go. Our characters, to use a different word from archetypes, are things that are secretly keeping us safe, keeping us feeling secure in one way, and stopping us moving forward, because in one way it's keeping us safe. So I had a client say to me recently, how is this keeping me safe, Faye? How is my anxiety, my relationship anxiety keeping me safe? And I thought, because it's stopping you finding a relationship. In short, it's stopping you finding a relationship. So you don't have to push yourself out. You don't have to worry about being heartbroken again. So without further ado, here is the 4 most common characters that I see playing out, and I want you to see where you fit in the most. So the first one is the victim. It's okay for you. And I actually encourage you to think about this. It's okay for them because it's easy for them because, so perhaps it's easy for them because they don't have children. So it's easy for them to find a relationship. It's easy for them. They don't have the worries of covering the mortgage payments or the rent payments. It's easy for them because they're so beautiful. It's easy for them because X, Y, Z. Like, other people are more attractive than me. No one understands me. This is what I kind of call the victim character. Life is happening to me. Now, remember, there's no judgment on this. There's absolutely no judgment. The victim is really kind of the baseline of saying, I'm scared. Everything's happening to me and I don't have any control. I don't feel strong enough. So what the victim is really saying is, I'm not going to make any changes because I don't have the strength within me to do it. When we're in victim mode, and we all can be in that mode, so again, there's no judgment, I like to think of it this way. The victim really is just the crying out. It's the, oh, woe is me. And do you know, if you're in victim mode right now, laugh about it. So you're in that place where you think that it's so much easier for everyone else and it's so much easier for them because of this and because of that and because of the other. Really is just like the toddler stamping their feet up and down and not understanding their own emotions. Like, we don't need to give it harshness. We need to give it compassion. It's like, oh, okay. Like I say to people, there's so much realization in realizing the lies. So much realization. So that's the first character. The second character is the damsel in distress. Save me. I need you. If you could do this for me, oh, I'd be so lucky. If they loved me, I would be just so excited and just so grateful because I'm up in this big tower and oh, the knight in shining armor, if they could come and rescue, I could have the rest of my fairy tale. And really, at the core, as I say this to all of you, it's not really who you are, is it? It's not really who you are. Who you are is someone who is very strong and very capable, just like the victim mode, of creating the life they truly desire. So remember, we're keeping these playful, but keep them in mind for the next part. The next is the warrior. I don't need anyone. I am rock solid. Don't need any help. I won't accept help because I can't trust you to follow it through properly, or I can't trust you that you won't hurt me. The warrior keeps going and going and going and going and going, and there's no stopping me. And again, remember, you're playing these in different parts of your life, so keep it lighthearted. The next, and this is why I said to you, it's took me 4 times to record today, the good girl perfectionist. I fell into the good girl perfectionist. Now, the good girl perfectionist, and the reason I wanted to talk about this today is I quite often will tell you about experiences that are going on in my own life. And that's 1, because I'm transparent, but 2, because I like you to see the real life. I like you to see that real life happens for real people. And if I thought about, being totally honest, I thought about what's the why for my business recently. Why do I do what I do? Because I'd started to fall out of love with social media, truth be known. I'd really started to fall out with, even in one way, the coaching world. That's me being totally honest, because it felt very, everyone's deciding that they're a coach. Everyone's deciding that they can fix everything. And there's no real, I wasn't seeing any substance to it. I wasn't actually seeing any authenticity. I was seeing a lot of people saying they could do something they hadn't actually accomplished themselves. I can teach you, but I haven't learned it myself. And it was really grating on me. And like I said, mirrors, looking at mirrors about what was going on in my own life and reflections and da-da-da-da-da. So I had to come back to my why. Why am I doing this? Why do I care so much? Why do I offer this level of support that I offer when I work with people, the one-to-one level of support where they get the Voxer support with me, when they get to speak to me, where they get extra courses, where I'm a real kind of, let's go, let's do this. And I thought, what's my why? And this will also link into what your why is going to be. As I said at the start of this, I'm a big advocate, or maybe it wasn't at the start of this, maybe this is one of the recordings that I've deleted, but it was, I'm a big advocate for do it for yourself, don't do it for the people. You want to lose weight, you want to find love, you want to, not even the love department. The love department for me has always been do it for you, don't do it for anyone else. And recently that got turned on its head a little bit for me, because I was looking at different approaches as you do, as you change and grow. And this falls into the good girl. The good girl cannot change her perspective, because if she is wrong or has changed her perception, therefore makes her feel wrong in the past, she isn't a good person. If she isn't perfect, she isn't a good person. Now, when I say about how these are playing out into your life, and that's what I want you to look at. I want you to look at your own characters. You can create your own characters, or you can look at my 4 characters and go, where am I playing this? But more importantly, where is this playing out in your life? So I want to give you an example. So right now, probably the one that's really come up for me, I've realised in my life, is the good. I've fell back into a bit of the good girl perfectionist mode. Now, my eldest son is in school. He's in school at the moment anyway. He's 10. And we've been helping out sell raffle tickets to raise money for the school. Now, the good girl, me being totally honest, I don't really have excessive amounts of time to be selling raffle tickets outside. And we can all create time. Time is endless. So I suppose really it's not my priority is what I'm saying. But I've done it because I don't want to let the people down and da-da-da-da. But here's what I mean about how reflecting in my own world. And this is where I want you to think about why you want to change your love story that's not just about you. So my eldest son has been really downhearted that we haven't sold more tickets, and in his head he wanted to sell. So one of the other mums that is doing it has sold more than us. There was never a competition. And it was never about, it was just, we're on one gate, she's on the other, she's doing morning night, we're doing morning. So I was trying to say to my son, like we'd made half the amount the other person's made, but we're only doing half the time, and it's all for the greater good. Like all that money will go in the same pot. But my son is really deflated by this. He's just like, oh, wow, yeah, maybe I'm not as well known as the other children, and maybe I'm not, Mum, can you talk? And I've noticed over the few days of us doing it, how his confidence has come down. Have you ever noticed that? Have you ever noticed how the more you try something, it's not quite going the way you want it to, you slowly start backing away, like love. You slowly start backing away because you feel a failure, because you feel someone else has mastered it quicker, so you must be doing something wrong. And that's not the case. So when you look at like these victim statements, I suppose in one of them, my son was a victim statement of, oh, wow, I'm not as well known. Like when we look at that kind of the dampening the stress as, Mom, can you go and do it for me? Like we can see how actually we are projecting as well as mirroring. We are literally giving these ideas to other people, or they can play out in other ways. In have a look around and even do it in your own way. Grab a pen and paper. Look, how is this reflecting in your world? How is it playing these characters of they can't find love? How is they finding the character of not being good enough for love, not being attractive enough? What is the real ripple effect of that? So I often say we literally bleed in from the past into the now into the present. So what are you bleeding through? What is your next phase? Because if you're rippling this story of you have to be a certain way for love, it's not a judgment call. It's not that you're doing something wrong. If anything, it's a realization that you get to change that story. It's a realization of, oh, I actually get to do that. Now, the stories that are coming up for you, like yesterday, I want you to do a little bit of extra homework. Are they true? See, the victim, the damsel in distress, the warrior, the good girl, the perfectionist, are they true? Is it true that you're not good enough? Because if it is true, you're going to see evidence around you to back it up. So maybe you need to change the evidence. Start looking. Who do you know that you would not particularly class as perhaps what you would deem to be in that good relationship? Like what? No, let's rephrase that. Because that felt icky. So for instance, I'm now a single mom. No one's going to love me with my child. I've got too much baggage. That was one of my stories. One of my stories, again, was also they're not special enough. I'm not special enough. I need to be more unique. So we're really morphing and changing into what other people want us to be. And then that reflects into what we see in other people. And that's when we find ourselves in judgment or jealousy, whichever one you want to fall into. If you can't find the evidence in front of you to support the fact that you can be successful, a single mom, go on to have more children, No matter what the story is for you, look for the evidence outside of you. I'm listening to the moment Denise Duffield Thomas, and she was an inspiration for me, actually, as someone who can totally be herself, have the business, have the relationship, have the children, and still be a good mom. So she was one of my examples I look at and still look to at times. That's where the beauty is in the coaching world, because it's there. It shows you. So start looking for the lies amongst what you're doing. So what I want you to do and go away with today is one of two things. Where is this really playing out in your life? Start taking back control of where your thoughts are going and the energy you're putting out there. And next, I want you to make a declaration of what your why is. Why is it so important for you to change your love story? What impact is it going to have for you? And what impact is it going to have for other people? How is this really going to change everything for you? What do you need to believe in order for your why to be so important? Because the reality is it's all a ripple effect. So share with me your why. How is it going to change finding the love you truly desire on your rules that's right for you, that absolutely amplifies the love around you for everyone? What impact is that going to make for you? What impact is that going to make for the people that you love? And tomorrow we will continue on from this in your next training. I am sending you so much love, and don't forget there will be a masterclass to follow on from this where we're going to tie you even more all together. Just know for now, the love you truly desire is literally waiting out there for you. It's just waiting to be found.